So one question I get very often, especially from new entrepreneurs, is they want to know, should they register a company before they start transacting business? Or should they just start the business and then worry about registering the company later? I have an existing client who has a business, and he asked me, I'm starting a new software company doing app development. Should I register a company first, or should I worry about it later? My question to that is, it really depends on what you think the outlook is for that business. If you think this is just something like, I'll give it a shot and see how it goes, and you think maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, maybe don't worry about starting the company first, because, why incur the additional cost if you're really just kind of sticking your toe in the water a little bit. But if this is a serious endeavor that you are really trying, like you've already done your research, you've worked on building a brand, maybe you've sourced products from China, you've already got a warehouse, you set up your Amazon seller account, you set up your Shopify store, all these things, and you've already made a significant commitment to doing the business, then honestly you're crazy not having the business structure done at the beginning, because ultimately what will end up happening, and I've seen this so many times, you take off running and things start going well, you get sales, and then as an entrepreneur you're focused primarily on growth. The next sale, the next hire, the next deal, getting the next thing done, the next. And you're constantly focused on getting that next thing done, and you forget about the structure part. You're like, I'll do it later, because none of that seems significant once you get rolling. And you think, I'll do it later. And so what happens is that later becomes a year or 2 years or 3 years. And all of a sudden, you've got a pretty decent sized business, running it through your own name. If you're American, through your Social Security number, or if you're non-US, you're running it through your name and your tax ID number in the country where you have tax residency. And you've almost gotten too big to rewind it all, because now you have to go back and register the company, open new bank accounts, get new merchant accounts, new Stripe accounts, new PayPal accounts. You got to change everything over, change some contracts, change some agreements with suppliers. And it becomes such a big task. You're like, I'll just keep running like this. And then that's where the problem happens. Something happens, you end up getting hit with a huge tax bill because you're not properly optimized. You get sued. You have a problem with customers. You have some problem, and you just basically procrastinated until it was too late, and then you had a significant incident that hits you pretty hard. And what are we really talking about here? If you're registering an LLC or a corporation, you're literally talking about a few $100. Why would you go out and spend all this money building a website, hiring a VA, sourcing products, or developing a piece of software, or whatever your business is? Why would you go through all that stuff and not register the company and get the legal structure of the business right from the beginning? It seems quite short-sighted to me. Now, a lot of people do it, don't get me wrong, but it seems pretty short-sighted to not get your legal structure correct from the beginning, because you're procrastinating and want to save a few $100. So get it done from the beginning.
Does your answer change for California residents, given that it's significantly more expensive?
It doesn't change for California residents for the same reasons. It costs you more money, but so does everything else, right? And that also means it's going to cost you that much more down the road when you got to go back and fix everything. It's still going to be cheaper for you to get it done up front than doing it 2 years later when you got to go back and fix the whole situation. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. I've ran into that a few times lately where people are like, oh, well, I live in California, it's $800, so that's why I'm going for a sole proprietorship. If I lived elsewhere, I would do an LLC.
It doesn't really make too much sense. Yes, it's $800, but it's short-sighted. It's just a short-sighted. It's not an abundance mindset with your business. I don't start a business that I don't already have plans, and procedures and processes in place for it to succeed. Now, of course, that doesn't mean everything succeeds. Obviously, we all have failures in business. If you're an entrepreneur over like the age of 30, you've had a crash and burn here and there anyway. So it doesn't mean everything succeeds, but I don't go into anything with the thinking it may not succeed. I go into it thinking this one is going to launch. This one's going to be successful. And so if I'm going into something with the thought it's going to be successful, why would I not do it right from the beginning? Like, it's funny to me, like, honestly, people will spend more time and energy, effort, and money planning a week-long vacation than they will actually spend planning their startup of their business. Some people do that. It's crazy, but people do. People will spend weeks planning, a vacation to Disney World in Orlando, and they'll spend, 10 grand or more, like to book this trip and buy their Disney World tickets and all this stuff. People spend 10 grand on that. But then you say, did you register an LLC for your e-commerce business? Are you kidding? No way. That's like $300. Like, what? It's mind-blowing to me that people would say that, but people do. People do.